next is a Fireside Chat, and the chat is going to be taking us through a very interesting topic, the role of media in scaling up D2C brands. Now, in this ever-evolving era of digital, the brand-retailer relationship with the rising use of internet is also evolving. So, is digital enough, or do D2C brands of today need to have a 360-degree media approach and media planning? Is there a new media playbook for the new brands that they now need to be updated with? So to answer all of these questions, we are welcoming next on stage, Head Network Sales Viacom 18, Mahesh Shetty. Please put your hands together and let's welcome Mahesh Shetty, Head Network Sales, Viacom 18. And joining him on stage for this Fireside Chat, we have Naval Ahuja, co-founder, Exchange for Media. Let's put our hands together. Welcome the two gentlemen on stage. They are going to be talking about the role of media in scaling up D2C brands today. So I would request Naval to now initiate the talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Shobha. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today at this first edition of the D2C Revolution Conference. This is very interesting times for the Indian economy, especially for the D2C sector. I was looking at some statistics. 2021 data tells us there were 800 successful D2C brands in India with a collective then valuation of almost $45 billion. This valuation, as per KPMG, is likely to go up to $100 billion in another 3 years. Obviously, the ecosystem has got a very big boost, very big fillip due to COVID. A lot of people, consumers, discovered D2C brands during the lockdown, and consumption patterns have significantly changed because of D2C platforms. Some of you might have also noticed a report that we did on Exchange for Media last month said the biggest media property in India, which is IPL, had 60% contribution by D2C brands on sponsorship, and that's a significant amount. Some reports said the IPL broadcaster or the media rights holder earned around 4,000 crore rupees of ad revenue, out of which 60% came from D2C brand. That's a significant number, close to almost 3,000 crores. So I have with me a person who represents the media side of the business. Welcome, Mahesh. Mahesh is very unusual in the sense that in 30 years of his working career, this is his third job. So that tells you the companies he's worked for. He's built solid brands. He's worked with Pepsi, then on to BCCL, the Times of India Group, and now he leads revenue for Viacom set of properties. And as you know, Viacom includes the entire plate of television as well as digital properties and a lot more. So Mahesh, tell us, you've been exposed to, as a media owner, to the D2C ecosystem for the last few years. What are the few mantras that are important for D2C companies to know when it comes to using advertising to build their brands? And painting all D2C with one brush might not be appropriate. There are big D2Cs, there are mid-sized D2Cs, and there are startup D2Cs. So if you can tell us a little bit about each of the buckets, how can they use advertising better to build their brands?
I think, simply put, the start and end of every business is a consumer. And, last few years have been the most exciting times, I would say, for, young budding entrepreneurs because of the way internet penetration has grown in the country. And that's led to a lot of opportunities for new age companies to go out and disrupt the marketplace. Over the last few years, we've seen niche segments coming out primarily because they were fulfilling a specific consumer need. And so the core of every communication is the consumer. I mean, today the media in many ways is just a bridge which helps the brand connect with the consumer. So at every stage of the, I would say the brand journey, the role that media plays is very different. And at an early stage, I would say, because what I've seen with most startups is that, and especially D2C startups, is that they start with one particular city. And in that city, a particular geography or so at that in that kind of a scenario, then you're talking about extremely localized communication for that particular TG, and from that kind of a scale, and where there is proof of concept, and at that point of time, the localized mediums that work, and I think are from a efficiency point of view that makes sense, would be using social networks, and also localized mediums depending on what category you are in. It could be a local radio network or it could be local print. But as there is that proof of concept that works, and that particular startup goes into the next level, is when the bigger, I would say, the brand wants to get exposed to the entire country or across multiple cities. And so at every stage, the medium used and the way the medium is used changes. And so there are two parts to it. One is, very often I've seen, brand owners sacrifice brand building to performance management, performance marketing. And I think in this journey, which is from a small startup, which could be in one city, to going to a 4-city or all metro markets and going pan-India, this journey of ensuring that the brand, is built very strong, and those relationships and equity is built with consumers, that has to also go along with performance marketing, because when you look at the big brands in the country, and be it in the FMCG space, which is the HULs, or Indian company like a Dabur or any of these, they also solve consumer problems, and they kind of fulfill a particular need. But because the brands are so strong, their CAC, the customer acquisition cost would be far lower than any of the new age companies, because the brands have become very strong. And I think, so to answer your question, every stage the challenge is different, and how you use the medium also changes.
But one of the points that remains common for not just startup brands or not just D2C brands is this classical marketer's dilemma of performance marketing versus brand building. And a lot of companies, because of easy and cheaper access of digital, end up focusing a lot on performance marketing, which is the bottom of the funnel, and not so much on the top of the funnel, which is building aspirational value for the brand. Now the reasons are obvious. Everybody has limited budget. Everybody is looking to bring in customers into their ecosystem before they start building a brand. So given that most of the D2C brands are working on a limited marketing budget, what do you think is the right way to find the balance between focusing on brand building while you are also doing performance marketing?
Again, each one will have a different view. My view is that performance marketing is short term. Brand building is long term. So if you're in the short term thing and you want quick returns, you should invest in performance marketing. But if you're in it for the longer term, then both have to go hand in hand. I would also like to emphasize on the importance of creative. The way you communicate your brand. While, very often when you talk about performance marketing, it is, you talk about the cashback, you talk about the discount, but also I think it's the way you talk about the brand. And I would like to say, give an example of a brand like a Cred. Today, Cred stands out in your mind because of the kind of creative they've used.
That's right.
And there is a strong imagery about Cred, and I would say that any brand, if it has to play the game in the long term, it has to focus on brand building. The brand building, very important part of that is creative. So while you do performance marketing, even in that, creative is also equally important. So if you ask me, is there a mantra which says that, okay, 30% brand building, 70% performance? I don't have that answer to that. I think each brand is different, each category is different. But I've seen a lot of brands focus almost 90% on or 100% on performance marketing. I think it's only a short-term agenda. But finally, the consumer builds association with brands. Today, if on a shopping cart, there are 2 milk brands and one of them is Amul. That brand is built over years, and through a particular kind of communication, same price point, same discount, consumer is going to choose Amul. Okay, and even if it is no discount, the consumer is going to choose Amul. And I think, having said that, there are many D2C brands which are, investing and are doing that right. In Bombay, there is this brand called, and because I just spoke about milk, there is a brand called Country Delight. I'm not sure whether you've seen that. And I think they've done a superb job in terms of performance marketing as well as brand building, and the communication of quality comes across in every campaign of theirs.
Yeah, I think, a large number of companies don't have the kinds of budgets that, large D2C players have. But Cred is a very good example where a solid aspirational brand has been built on the back of, using the power of television. Yeah. Very important, if I may add here, because while you do your performance marketing and bottom of the funnel activities, brand building does require, much wider impactful media reach, and television brings that to the table. And the power of good quality creative, I mean, it can't be overstated, because whether you are on digital or on legacy media or on television, the fact remains a good quality creative will help you stand out, create that aspirational value in the brand. But tell us, Mahesh, since a large number of D2C brands are focused significantly on the digital, what is the way to kind of shift their thinking and approach to also start looking at TV in a larger manner? Many companies are already doing it, but perhaps only the top 5 or 10% are doing it. How do you, being on the other side of the table, nudge a large number of these companies to also look at television as a viable medium for them to create brand?
I think, again, it's part of the brand's journey, and I think I've been lucky over the last 4 odd years to witness upfront some brand journeys very up close. And I'll give an example of, say about 3 odd years back, Mamaearth, from the scale at which Mamaearth is today, it was far different. I think Mamaearth would have been about 100 crore odd brand. And that's the time they got onto television. And before that, they were primarily on digital and, digital first brand. And I think their journey from a 100 crore company and their aspiration to become a 500 crore company started around that time. And that's when television came in. Because the kind of reach that television gives is unparalleled. Okay? Yeah. And also one of the key things that television delivers is trust. Okay, because you go into people's homes. It is a medium which is consumed in groups, in family. It's not a, one-person consumption kind of a medium. It's the entire family consumes it. And Mamaearth came on board because they also had limited monies. I mean, while they were competing in categories where there are very established players like the HULs and, PNGs, so they came on board on a property of ours, which is Bigg Boss, about 3 odd years back, and that was disruptive because it was a small brand which came on one of the biggest properties which that is there in the GC environment. It is, I would say, the IPL of the GC environment, and a property like Bigg Boss not only gives you reach, immediate reach, but also it is a property where what your brand stands for, you can actually go out and show. And the people in the Bigg Boss house are also big influencers by themselves. So Mamaearth used Bigg Boss very effectively, okay, about 3-4 years back. And post that, their journey went on to scaling up their organization, because they went from a digital-only kind of a business to also spreading their wings on modern trade, stores. So it became a kind of online, offline, omni-channel kind of a presence. And that was backed with a strong television campaign. I think now their advertising is more, it's not, taking on a big property, but it is more about, spreading it across, ensuring they have enough reach and there is, regular recall. So, that itself shows the way television has worked for a brand, because the television as a medium goes hand in hand in your own journey as you scale up. Okay, but as a if you're a really small player, I think television doesn't work because, there is a lot of wastage. My early days were in Pepsi, and I've done both sales and marketing. And the core of advertising should be to help get demand, okay? When the guy should go out to the store and ask for your brand. But if your brand is not there, okay, then it's a complete waste of money. So very often some brands do advertising, but they don't get the distribution right. So I think getting the distribution right and then, putting this big ticket ATL on, with great creative is a magic mantra. I don't think any brand can go wrong on that.
Absolutely. I think 2-3 very important points. One, the power of TV, and it is not about everybody being on Big Boss, right? Television offers a huge, wide range of choices from, mass entertainment GEC to IPL to language TV to language news TV. So really it has a lot that,
and what happens, Naval, is that very often, a brand which has big aspirations is just thinking that how do I compete against many of these big brands who are already there.
Yeah.
But a platform like this makes them stand shoulder to shoulder with the big brands. And then suddenly the consumer also kind of, experiences that brand.
Absolutely. Power of impact,
Absolutely.
as I said. Tell me, we've seen increased internet penetration in India over the last few years has really made a significant change to consumer habits, and that has also led to significant change and newer and more innovative ways in which advertisers are using it. Social commerce didn't even exist, 30 months back. Content commerce has come up in a big way. Looking at how interesting and innovative these options are becoming for advertisers, what are the lessons for, large media companies like yours? How do you reinvent yourself to kind of offer similar nimble-footed solutions to advertisers?
I think, like I said, as media companies, we have two responsibilities. At one end, the content that we create is for the viewer, it's for our consumers. At the other end, like I said, we are the bridge to brands. So understanding brands is a very core thing for every media company. And understanding brands well and giving them a solution which works for them. Now, I think the days of giving solutions which are just one platform, okay, are over. Okay, because today the consumer engages with you across platform. So today, I think if from Viacom 18, while we speak about any of our properties, okay, when we go and talk about it, I think the messaging that we try and give is that, you'll get exposure on television. Along with that, there will be a huge social push, and there is also OTT on it. I'll, giving you an example which happened about, I think, 10 days back. We have a property called Khatron Ke Khiladi, Fear Factor, and there's a Coke brand called Charge, Thumbs Up Charge, which is a partner on it. And one of the participants of the show is an influencer by the name Faizu. And so Faizu did this task in Cape Town, which was quite a thrilling task, which was a branded task for Thumbs Up Charge. And he put it up on his Instagram handle. Now he's got millions of followers. That video got millions of views. So this thing of thinking that, okay, you know what, Thumbs Up is just tied up for a television property, that's wrong. Actually, the content is the core thing, and that has got viral across multiple mediums. And I think as media companies, we have to look at it from that lens, saying that what is the kind of solution that we give which can, have multiple touch points. And I think if you're able to do that, because finally the consumer is, consuming content. It could be any, platform.
Yeah, I think one of the key aspects to, keep in mind while we are, going about looking at various advertising platforms is the kind of reach and impact that, some of the large platforms offer. Content and use of influence are, becoming common factors across, right? I remember pre-COVID, I was at a conference in Jaipur where Faizu was there. And my ignorance, I did not know much about who he was. He was on stage, so a friend who was standing next to me used to head Google at that time, and I asked him, I said, who is he? He said, this boss, you don't know, this is Faizu. He has millions of followers. And Faizu did a, some Facebook, Instagram live. And within an hour, hundreds of people turned up outside the, hotel gate to kind of mob him. So that is the power of influencers, but the reach of platform is extremely important, and I think for advertisers, especially D2C advertisers, which are looking to build, brands that are aspirational, that's a very important fact to keep in mind. Of course, it will cost more money,
Yeah.
right? But like you mentioned at the beginning, you're looking at, performance marketing, short-term sort of gains versus also building a brand in the long term, because that is what will make you stand out. Eventually, competition is going to do some of the things that, you are also thinking doing.
Because in the same category, there will be 4 brands fighting against you. If you have to stand out, then you have to kind of do that bit
The
of
classic
disruption.
share of voice,
Absolutely.
challenge on TV. Tell us, Mahesh, also some of the, recent examples of working. You mentioned Mama Earth. Are there more examples that come to mind where you've done interesting work with D2C brands across TV or digital or both, use of influencers?
Actually, it's not a D2C brand, a B2B brand. But we all know about the brand is Bharat Pay. And everybody knows Ashneer now, okay, thanks to Shark Tank. Okay. Yeah, so Bharat Pay came onto one of our properties, which is again Big Boss, about 3-4 years back. And at that point of time, they were building their entire retail presence. And I think what Bharat Pay really looked for was credibility. Okay, because their guys were going to go to retail stores and get their payment, app or gateway over there. And they leveraged Big Boss as a property and the platform to build awareness and also build credibility across. And I think that is, again, see, advertising or association is not in isolation. It also goes along with what you plan for your own business in terms of your distribution width, and, So that is one. I think last year we had another brand, Wow Skin Science. They also came on board. Very interesting work they did. Licious was there last year. First time, a meat brand came on board. And again, they were also, increasing their width presence across the country, and this acted as a great fillip for them, and put them head over shoulders ahead of some of their own competitors. I mean, they were competing with Meatigo and Fresh to Home and many of the others. So yes, I think for a medium-sized company which is looking at really, taking a big jump, some of these properties and presence across television, digital really works.
Fantastic. I see the red screen has come up. So one last question to you. What do you have lined up in terms of the big ticket properties which are coming up? I mean, IPL is still some time away.
Yeah.
Next season now, festive season is starting.
I think the sport that the world loves, okay, the biggest sport in the world, which is soccer. We have FIFA World Cup coming up, which is November, December, on Voot as well as on our sports channel. I think that's the biggest event in the world. Okay, that's something that we have. We have the IPL of GEC, which is Big Boss in 3 languages coming up, which is in October. So
15 years
16,
running,
yeah,
16 years.
Yeah, yeah. And Salman Khan is back. Though this time we are really rebooting Big Boss. I'm not going to reveal what's going to happen, but it's going to be a really interesting one. A lot of rules are going to be broken on whatever we've done in the past. We also have Big Boss happening in Kannada. We have it in Marathi. We have a big dance reality show of ours, which is an iconic show called Jhalak Dikla Ja, that is coming in September. Along with that, Naval, we have built a very strong branded content team. And with a huge, while there is a sales and servicing team, but there's a big, we've invested a lot on a large creative team. And we create bespoke solutions for brands. And I think that is something that will work for many of the startup brands over here, because, our team can actually go out, understand what the brand stands for, work out a media plan which works for them in the budget that they have in mind. And I think that is also a big ticket thing. And along with that, we have some great experiential properties lined up in the kids and family space and the youth and music space. So we have theatricals, Peppa Pig, if people have heard of Peppa Pig, we have Peppa Pig theatrical coming up. We have Masha and the Bear theatrical coming up. We have Supersonic, VH1 Supersonic, our big music festival coming up. Yeah, so lots of stuff.
Fantastic. As I mentioned at the beginning, with the almost 60% of the ad revenue on IPL being contributed by D2C brands, I'm sure these companies saw something which went right for them. I mean, I don't have to take examples like Byju's, which latched on to big ticket sponsorship and cricket, much longer back, and built a very aspirational brand on top of that. But there is opportunity for a large number of D2C companies to ride on large media platforms, associate with a Salman, if not a Salman, a Ranveer Singh, and create value for consumers as well as shareholders. So with that, thank you, Mahesh, for joining us. I'm sure you found the session useful. Mahesh is available for any interaction post the session. Thank you again, and look forward to the next session.
Thanks, guys, and all the very best in your journey. And we'll be really happy to partner with you on anything which can help you, kind of take that big leap. Thanks.